Hello, I'm your host, Paul Young, and with me is parent education expert, Stephanie Risley. Welcome to another segment of Surviving the Teen Years.
Thanks, Paul. The early teenage years are often stressful for both adolescents and their parents. Teens may be confused about the physical and emotional changes they experience, while at the same time, parents might be facing their own midlife crisis. Or sometimes parents worry about getting older when they compare their energy or lack of it to their child's youth and vitality.
And parents often worry that their kids will experience negative peer pressure, violence, become addicted to drugs and drop out of school, develop eating disorders, or even become suicidal in response to the many pressures and stresses they may face.
You're right. Parents do worry, but most young people function well through their teenage years and go on to become contributing members of society. In this series of 10 videos, we will examine teenage behavior and help parents identify the issues that require serious intervention. We will look at ways parents can help their children grow into healthy adults.
Thank you, Stephanie. The topic of today's program is parenting the teen parent. Let's watch a scene involving a teen parent and her family. Think about what you would do in this situation.
Honey, you're gonna spoil that child if you pick him up every time he cries.
He hurt himself. What am I supposed to do? I just want to make sure that he's all right.
Well, you can see if he's all right without picking him up. You just ask him.
Yeah, or you just let him cry himself out. Sammy's a big boy now.
Can't you see he's manipulating you? If you run to him every time he cries, he's gonna know just what to do whenever he wants attention. But do what you want. He's your child.
That's right. He's my child.
Lisa, hon, your mom has a point. You baby Sammy too much. I mean, he's drinking out of that bottle. He should be drinking out of a cup.
Usually he does, but he's upset right now.
That's my point. I mean, we took your cup away from you all at once. The same with your diapers. I mean, the kid should be toilet trained by now.
And you still have him on a pacifier, honey.
Sleeps with the light on.
He's afraid of the dark. What am I supposed to do?
You let him cry himself to sleep. I mean, it's for his own good. It's the only way Sammy's gonna grow up.
He's my baby. Leave me alone. And his name is Sam.
Lisa!
As you just saw, Lisa and her parents had a disagreement over how to parent Lisa's son, Sam. They've agreed to join us today to discuss what happened and to work with our expert to find constructive solutions to the problem you just witnessed. Please welcome this family to our program. Welcome to the show. Lisa, could you tell us in your words what you think happened?
Well, my parents think I'm spoiling my son because I comfort him when he's upset, and I don't agree.
Barbara and Dan, was that accurate?
Well, we're not saying she shouldn't comfort him when something's really wrong, but the problem is when she indulges him every time he fusses.
Yeah, we're basically afraid that Sam's going to have trouble maturing because Lisa just caters to his needs all the time. I mean, all the time.
Okay, let's begin with some initial audience response. Do you think Lisa was overly attentive to Sam?
I don't think so. She's the mother of the child. If she feels her son needs her, well, she knows better than anyone.
Mother knows best, huh? What do you think?
I have to agree with Lisa's parents. Kids are smart. If they can cry to get their way, they will.
Yeah, but what was the child asking for? Just a little attention and comfort. I don't think it's manipulative to want love.
How's he ever going to grow up if he's always crying for attention?
But why does he have to grow up now? He's only 2, right?
Lisa, Stephanie, what do you think?
Picking up and comforting a baby is not spoiling him. You really cannot comfort or hold a child too much. It might be a different situation if children cry in order to get a specific result or to manipulate a parent. But if your child cries out of pain, he should be comforted.
Is the same true for feeding a baby? My mother always said that you feed a baby on a specific schedule, and if he cries between meals, you should let him wait.
Well, hunger causes physical pain that a baby should not have to endure. If he is hungry, he should be fed. And if a child is in pain of any kind, Picking him up and comforting him is important because it instills a sense of trust.
Yeah, but Sam's not an infant, you know. I mean, he's 2. He can talk. He can express himself. And now, if he get upset, he'll cry because he knows that Lisa's going to just attend to him.
You know, if I hear him cry, my instinct is to go to him. I don't sit there and think, does he really need me this time or not?
Well, maybe you should think about that.
Actually, Sam is just learning how to verbalize his needs. His mother should help him by giving him words for his frustration. As he begins to feel understood and comforted, his crying will just naturally diminish.
I'd like to know why Lisa is still giving Sam a bottle. He's over 2 years old now.
Well, it comforts him. At meals, he drinks from a cup, but at night, I usually give him one to help him sleep.
Is that appropriate for his age?
I don't know. It seems to work for Sam.
Stephanie?
There's nothing wrong with an evening bottle at this age. It's a security device, and there is no reason to deprive the child. Children give up their bottles when they're ready. The important thing is not to give the bottle in bed. That could become habit forming, and if the child gets used to falling asleep, it also could leave the milk sugar on its teeth and cause problems later on.
What about potty training? Should Sam still be in diapers?
It really varies with each child. Certainly no child should be forced out of diapers until they develop the muscular control they need for toilet training. You don't want to make the experience a negative or traumatic one for the child.
When should you take a child out of diapers?
Well, look for signs of readiness, such as when the child is willing to sit on the potty and can recognize when he soils his diaper, or when he can stay dry for a minimum of 2 hours. Of course, if he shows any signs of resistance, that means he is not ready. Then the best thing to do is just forget about it and try again later. Children will train easily when they are mature and ready. The best thing to do is just relax and let nature take its course.
Yeah, and I use my best judgment, but my parents never trust it.
Oh, Lisa, honey, we think you're a good mother, but we also think that you could benefit from some of our experience. After all, you and your brother came out okay, didn't you?
Can I say something? I think Lisa would benefit a lot more from your experience if you wouldn't nag her so much.
I don't nag her.
Sure you do.
Perhaps nag is too strong a word, but she does have a good point. If your advice came in a more supportive tone, maybe Lisa would be more receptive to it. Too much unsolicited advice usually goes unheeded.
Well, I know that's true, so you must be right.
Yeah, but then there's still the problems. There's still the nightlight, there's still the diapers, there's still the bottle. When does Sammy grow up?
Well, with all the issues you just mentioned, it's important to allow a period of transition rather than alarming the child with abrupt changes. He may not be able to do what you want, and a power struggle could occur. Allow him to adjust at his own speed. For example, Sam usually drinks from a glass, but occasionally has a bottle, right? Eventually, he'll go off the bottle completely. But you have to remember, Lisa is Sam's mother, and she is ultimately responsible for him, even though you are still her parent. It's important for you to support her and help her develop her parenting skills.
It seems like Lisa and her parents are just parenting from instinct. They should be educating themselves.
Lisa, do you read any books or magazines on parenting or attend any parenting classes?
Not really, but I do get advice from my pediatrician.
You see, I mean, we raised 2 kids, and we never read a book. And I don't believe that you can learn how to be a parent from a book.
Well, you can't learn parenting from books alone, but it's helpful to have resources when you run into problems. Parenting groups are particularly helpful in this regard.
I'm willing to try it.
Well, I think this is a good point to review the important points discussed so far.
Number 1, It is all right to pick up a crying child whenever he is in need of comfort. This is not spoiling the child. Number 2, make sure to provide transition periods for a child, whether weaning him off the bottle, taking him out of diapers, or introducing any other traumatic change. Number 3, parents should give their teens guidance and support to help them raise their children, but respect the authority of their child as parent. Number 4, use resources such as books, magazines, and parenting classes to help guide you through difficult parental decisions. Of course, your doctor can also be a wonderful source of guidance.
Good review. Lisa, Barbara, and Dan, would you like to go back and see if you can do the scene again in a more constructive way? Good, let's give it a try.
Oh, honey, is Sam okay?
Yeah, he's just a little upset right now.
You sure he needs that bottle?
Well, he has been only getting one once a day, but he's upset now. What do you think?
I guess it's okay as long as you're just moving towards weaning.
Right.
You know, we didn't have all these transitions when we were raising you, but I guess times have changed, huh?
You know, you probably won't believe this, but your father and I have actually been learning something from the parent education class we've been taking at the adult school.
Yeah, mainly that you're doing a good job and that you're a really good mom.
Thanks.
How do y'all feel about that?
Well, it was less frustrating because we all agreed on an approach that we would take with Sammy together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt good that Lisa actually asked our advice and appreciated what we had to say.
Lisa, what about you?
Well, it felt much better to me. I mean, my mom and dad actually listened to what I had to say, and I listened to them because I didn't have to defend myself.
I thought you all did a much better job of communicating in a supportive way. You understood each other's point of view, and you educated yourself about the situation you were in. Dan and Barbara, you respected Lisa's parenting skills, and Lisa looked to her own parents for guidance and support. Well done.
Great. Now let's take a look at another family having a conflict with their teen parent.
Mika, your daughter wants a cookie.
I told you, Crystal, no cookies before dinner.
You heard your mother.
You little brat, what did I tell you?
What's going on?
This little brat just took a cookie.
Oh, it's just one cookie. Let her have it.
That's great. That's just great. Fine, you give her dinner.
Where are you going?
Out.
Who's supposed to watch her?
You said you would.
Not tonight, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I'm leaving.
Where are you going?
I told you already. Out. I'm grown up now. I don't have to tell you where I'm going.
Grown up enough to have a child, but not grown up enough to take care of her. This is your responsibility. You understand?
You said you'd watch her tonight. Don't go back on your word.
Don't you leave me with her. This is your child.
Mary and her father Miguel have agreed to come today to discuss their conflict with us. Let's welcome Mary and Miguel to the program. Mary, could you tell us in your words how you see the conflict with your father?
Well, basically we're always arguing about Crystal. When I try to make a rule for her, my father makes his own rules. Whenever Crystal doesn't like what I have to say, she runs to her grandfather for a different answer.
Miguel, what's your perspective?
Well, I don't know what to do about my daughter. She's very selfish and won't take responsibility for her child. I'm the one that's always taking care of her. Besides that, I don't like the way she speaks to Crystal. I'm very frustrated.
Let's begin with your last point. When Crystal took a cookie without permission, Mary called her a brat. Was that appropriate?
No, I don't think so. Calling her a brat's not going to change Crystal's behavior. It's just going to make her feel bad about herself.
True.
What is she supposed to do? Call her sweetheart? She deliberately disobeyed her mother's orders.
No, there are better ways to deal with it.
Stephanie, what do you think?
I'd have to agree with the last comment. Name calling is not an effective approach. It hurts the child's sense of self-image without teaching her what she should do. When a young child disobeys, it's much more effective to acknowledge her feelings by saying something like, I know you really wish you had that cookie and you're frustrated. You could also state how you feel about the situation.
But how?
Well, tell Crystal how you feel rather than telling her why she's a bad girl. This way, you express your own feelings without making her feel bad about herself. You could just say, I feel angry when you take a cookie after I say no.
I regret calling her a brat. It just came out in the heat of the moment.
The reason this whole thing started in the first place is because Miguel doesn't respect Mary's rules. She says no cookie for Crystal, and the next minute, Grandpa gives her one. No wonder she doesn't listen to her mother.
I don't know what the big deal is. Crystal was crying and complaining. Why not let her have one?
Because her mother said no.
It's important that rules be consistent and that the grandparent doesn't contradict the rules of the parent. If you're not consistent, Crystal won't know whose authority she has to obey.
I didn't think about that.
I think Miguel has the right to make the rules in the house. Mary has shown she's not a responsible mother.
What do you mean?
Will you just leave the child in your father's hands and go out? That's irresponsible.
But he said he would watch her that night.
I don't remember saying that.
You guys need much better communication. I noticed that no one had prepared Crystal's dinner, and neither one of you were prepared to watch her that night.
Did you make any previous arrangements?
I thought we did, but I guess someone got confused.
How do you think they can prevent a similar misunderstanding from coming up again in the future?
Well, it might be helpful if Mary and Miguel make a contract with each other, specifying each person's responsibilities.
You mean an actual written contract?
Yes, that's one idea. They can agree in advance about when Miguel would be responsible for babysitting. And Mary can write a note to him to remind him. But I want to remind Miguel that it's his main role to be supportive to his daughter and to help her become a responsible parent.
If Mary wants her father to respect her as a mother, then she needs to behave like a mother, not a child.
Mary is still an adolescent. She can't raise a child on her own. She needs help.
No. She should have thought about that before she got pregnant.
Oh, that's a great attitude. So now she and Crystal should be punished?
Stephanie, what do you think?
Well, you have to remember, Mary's still a teenager herself, and she wants to do the same things that other teenagers do. Although she needs to be present for her child, she's a developing teen and she wants to date and see friends. If she's deprived of all that, she'll look at parenting as a chore and a punishment, and that won't benefit anyone, especially Crystal.
But she still has to show she's responsible.
I do.
Any final comments?
Yeah, I saw something that disturbed me. Mary and Miguel argued about who had to take care of Crystal, and I think that made Crystal feel like she was unwanted.
That's true. It looked that way.
I agree. We shouldn't have done that.
Well, it not only makes Crystal feel bad, it's another way of making childcare a punishment for Mary.
Let's review some of the important points discussed.
Number 1, state your angry feelings. Acknowledge the child's feelings when she is not allowed to have what she wants. Number 2, grandparents should make sure not to contradict a parent's rule. This confuses the child about whose authority to respect. Number 3, child care and other arrangements between the teen parent and grandparent should be made in advance. Written contracts are helpful. Number 4, a teen mother is still a teenager and should be allowed to pursue a social life as long as she does not neglect her child and acknowledges her responsibilities as a parent. Number 5, grandparents should not make childcare a punishment for the teen parent.
Good review. Mary, Miguel, would you like to go back and try that scene again in a more constructive manner?
Absolutely.
Great, let's see what happens.
Crystal, you know the rules. No cookies until after dinner.
I know you want that cookie, Crystal, but you know Mommy and Grandpa's rule. I feel very upset when you don't listen to your grandpa and me. You can have a cookie after dinner.
Where are you going?
I'm going to a party at Priscilla's house. I left you her phone number.
Oh, good.
The chicken's still cooking. It will be ready for her in about 15 minutes, and I'll be home by 11 or 11:30.
Okay, have a good time.
Mommy will be home in a few hours. Have fun with Grandpa.
How did that feel, Miguel?
I'm happy because I know where Mary is, what time she'll be home, and what each of our individual responsibilities are.
How about you, Mary?
I was really happy that my father and I agreed about our rules with Crystal. I felt good about the way I dealt with Crystal when she disobeyed me.
Parents need to remember that their teen parent children are still adolescents. Though they are parents, they are still normal teens going through the same problems and developmental phases as their peers. Their need to develop an individual identity apart from their parents often results in disputes about raising their own children. If you recognize your child's need for independence and give her support and encouragement along with your advice and your experience in parenting, the teen parent should be a lot more positive.
Now let's review the many excellent ideas we've discussed today.
Number 1, you can't spoil a child by picking him up. Number 2, be sure your child is ready for transitions. Number 3, parents should guide, respect, and encourage their teenager's role as a parent. Number 4, use available resources to help you parent. Number 5, state your feelings and acknowledge your child's feelings. Number 6, don't contradict a parent's rule in front of the child. Number 7, make child care arrangements in advance. Make contracts when appropriate. Number 8, teen parents should have a social life. Number 9, don't make child care a punishment. These 9 concepts can help you encourage your teenager to be an effective parent and help you as you learn to be a source of support for your child.
I think we've learned a lot today about parenting the teen parent. Would any of our guests like to make any final comments?
I do. It's really clear to me now that good communication is the key to a successful relationship with our teen parents. And you know, just because we have more experience doesn't mean that our children's ideas about parenting aren't valid.
I learned that my daughter and I must be more consistent in making the rules, and that we need to express our individual responsibilities to each other.
And I learned that when we support each other, we come up with better solutions.
And we make better decisions for our children.
An excellent way to implement these new parenting skills with your teen is to keep a daily journal. Write down all the ways in which you help your teen become a better parent, whether it's giving advice or simply supporting and encouraging her.
Thank you, Stephanie. And thanks to all of you who've participated in today's program. We look forward to working with you again in our next episode of Surviving the Teen Years.